Hey everybody, welcome to another video, and here's another top 10 list. And as you saw, I did my top 10 favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I thought I'd do another top 10 of another over-the-top action star. So here's my top 10 favorite movies of Sylvester Stallone. Adrian! Yes, I love Stallone. I love Schwarzenegger, but I love Stallone as well. So I thought, you know what? Let's make a top 10 of my favorite Sylvester Stallone movies. He's John Rambo. He's Rocky Balboa. Let's see what kind of movies he's got. He's got some bad ones, but he's also got some good ones, and I'm here to celebrate Sylvester Stallone's good movies. I'm not very good at impressions, as you can tell, but, I try. Everyone can dream. If a strip rat could have come so far, maybe I could do it. Show us up, toot. It's from Aladdin 3, by the way. Of course, before a top 10 list, you gotta have your 5 honorable mentions, so here's my 5 honorable mentions. My 5 honorable mentions are Rocky 4, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Shade, Nighthawks, and Over the Top. Yeah, I actually do like that movie. A lot of those movies, other than the movie Shade, those aren't really good movies. They're kind of like guilty pleasures, but I enjoy them. So let's get to my top 10. Coming in number 10 is the movie Fist, or F-I-S-T. I don't know how people pronounce it. I pronounce it Fist. Fist, 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 Fist! This movie stars Sylvester Stallone, Rod Steiger, and Peter Boyle from Everybody Loves Raymond. And yeah, Sylvester Stallone actually starred in a movie about labor unions and about labor laws and about based in the 1930s about the mobs owning the labor union and fighting for rights for better wages, better overtime, and all that shit, equal rights and stuff. Yeah, this movie's kind of like Cinderella Man meets On the Waterfront. Except it has no boxing, and it doesn't deal with the mobs as much as it did in On the Waterfront, but honestly, this movie is good. Honestly, this movie's probably better than a lot of other movies in my top 10. This movie probably should be in my, number 5 or something, but this is my opinion, and honestly, this movie does drag a bit. It's a bit slow, but I do like this movie. It is a good, writing's pretty decent, and I like this movie. It was a good movie, and Sylvester Stallone actually acts really good in this movie. I know nowadays Sylvester Stallone's playing in movies, you're like, oh, this guy can't act. Hey, back in the day, Stallone could actually act pretty good. When you watch First Blood and Rocky, he's a good actor, and this movie came in 1978, and that was the time when Stallone actually wrote good movies and acted in good movies, and the movie Fist is actually a good movie, and my number 10. Fist, Fist, Fist! Coming in number 9 is Rocky 2. Before I did this list, I was actually going to rank all the Rocky movies, but I decided not to. I'm like, you know what, a top 10 Stallone list sounds actually better, because honestly, I don't like all the Rocky movies. I love Rocky 2, though. Rocky 2 is a great movie, and I even enjoy Rocky 4, but I can't stand Rocky 3, and I hate Rocky 5, and I just didn't want to talk about those movies, because they actually pissed me off. But Rocky 2 is a good movie. This is the aftermath of Rocky 1, and it is good. It tells you a lot about how someone deals with fame and everything, and being a sellout and everything, and this is a really good movie. Brought back Apollo Creed and the rivalry of Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed, and yeah, this movie's great. Stallone's awesome, Apollo Creed, him kicking ass, and I just love this movie. It's a great movie, great climax, great story. Love Rocky 2. Coming in number 8 is you saw my top 10 guilty pleasures. This is actually also one of my favorite Stallone movies, Tango and Cash. Oh my god, some of my favorite actors in the 80s and 90s, Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone, in a movie together. Is this movie good? Fuck no, it's not good. It's so bad. It's terrible. The direction's pretty sloppy, the writing is cheesy, the one-liners are pretty lame. But I just have a blast every single time I watch Tango and Cash. It's just such a fun movie. It's like an ultimate guilty pleasure of mine. It's like watching Point Break or Commando. It's just so freaking fun. Even watching Wild Things. Yeah, I know a lot of people watch Wild Things for that. I watch it for that too. It's guilty pleasure. But yeah, Tango and Cash is awesome. I love Tango and Cash. Stallone and Kurt Russell just work so good. I love their chemistry. I love how they work off each other. And I just love this movie. It's fun, it's hilarious, the action's pretty decent, and I have a blast. This movie just puts a smile on my face every time I watch it. So yeah, I love Tango and Cash. Some people say it's stupid. Well, of course it's stupid, but that's why it's awesome. Coming in number 7 is Copland. Copland is actually a pretty underrated film. This is actually a good movie about cops in the criminal underworld, and this is actually a very good movie. And Stallone is really good in this movie. He plays kind of a a moron in this movie. His character's pretty stupid, but Stallone plays it really well. And not to say that Stallone is stupid, he's not. But he plays the role of a bumbling, kind of dumb cop really well. And yeah, I liked this movie. I loved the actors in this movie. Like, I loved Harvey Keitel, and I really loved Michael Rappaport in this movie, and this movie was just so freaking good. The writing in this movie was very good. It was a tad cheesy at times, and some parts are like, oh, that's kind of a quick fix kind of thing. I didn't like that, but it's still a good movie. It's a good cop movie. If you're into good cop movies, you'll probably have a good time watching this movie. So it's some decent action when there is action, but this is mostly like a kind of a crime thriller, and I really like this movie. I was engaged by this movie, and it's one of my favorite Stallone movies. Check out Copland if you love cop movies. It's a good one. Coming at number 6 is another guilty pleasure of mine, Cliffhanger. Wow, this movie's ridiculous, but just like Tango and Cash, I have a blast watching this movie. This movie is just so freaking fun. It's got Rennie Harlin. Rennie Harlin only did like 2 good movies ever. That's Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger. Both pretty ridiculous movies, but they're both so awesome. And I loved this movie, Cliffhanger. It's so fun. I've watched this movie since I've been a kid. My brother showed me this movie when I was like 8 or 9. And I had the VHS of this movie, and I just watched it all the time. I had like such a blast watching this movie. When I was 9 years old watching Cliffhanger, that was like a big deal to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm watching like a badass action movie. Hoo-hoo, I'm awesome. And I was awesome, because this movie is awesome. It's ridiculous. It's cheesy. Some things you're like, what? That could never happen. But yeah, it's still cool, and I love it. It's an old school 90s action movie, and it's just so cheesy, but it's just so cheesy and awesome. Love Cliffhanger. So freaking good. Coming at number 5 is Death Race 2000. Stallone's actually not the lead in this movie. He's actually the bad guy, Machine Gun Joe. Yeah, they remade this movie in, 2008 or something? Yeah, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. God, that movie was absolutely shit. Paul W.S. Anderson, he can't make any good movies, though. He sucks, but I actually really liked the original Death Race 2000. It's actually a pretty solid film. The ideas are actually pretty clever. Again, it's really, really dated, and some things just don't work, and they just don't hold up nowadays. But it's decent. Like, the acting is pretty good. I love Stallone. Stallone looks like he's just having a blast with this movie. And the ideas are really clever. The racing scenes are pretty awesome. It's kind of like watching like a Mad Max kind of movie. And I love it. It's kind of a freak of a nature of a movie, but it's still really good. The editing is very good. The direction's pretty solid too. And I just have fun with this movie. This movie isn't great, but it's good, and it's way better than the new version. Don't watch that new version. I know they actually made a lot of sequels, like they all come out straight to DVD, and God, don't watch any of those damn sequels either, like Death Race 2 or 3. Those movies suck. Jason Statham movie sucks. The only good one is Death Race 2000 with Sylvester Stallone as Machine Gun Joe. No, Tyrese Gibson is not Machine Gun Joe. Stallone is. Stallone is. Adrian! Coming at number 4 is Rocky Balboa. Yes, I know. I remember when this movie came out in like 2006. Everyone was getting ready to hate this movie. They're like, oh my god, Stallone is doing another Rocky movie, and he's writing and directing it. The man's like 60. Why is he doing another Rocky movie? This movie's gonna suck. I'll be honest. I was one of those people that are saying that. I'm like, this movie's gonna suck ass. I watched Rocky 5 when Rocky 5 came out, and I'm like, he doesn't have it anymore. This movie's gonna blow. And he just did that. He actually, I think he did Rambo after, but yeah, that Rambo movie was shit. But I'm like, oh, this movie's not gonna be good. But lo and behold, I saw this movie. I didn't even see it in theaters. I waited for it to come out on DVD, and I actually bought the DVD because people said this movie was so good. I'm like, you know what? I'll buy it. I've never regretted buying this movie because this movie is so freaking good. It's not only compelling and well acted, just it's so entertaining too, and it's a drama. This is almost like going right back to the original Rocky. This is Rocky when he's like retired, just him living a normal life, and he doesn't have Adrian anymore. All he has is him and Paulie and his son doesn't want to have to deal with him because he's so busy, and he's just like, oh, you're just like a washed out boxer now who wants a restaurant, but then he wants his comeback fight, and then he gets his comeback fight. Can he do it? Can he not do it? He doesn't have the speed like he used to, but he still has the power, and oh my god, this movie's so good. Sylvester Stallone, of course, returns as the role as Rocky, and he's really good in this movie. He's a bit brutish in this movie, but it works. It works for the movie. He directed this movie really well, and he really brought back the spirit of the original Rocky, and the tone is just like the original Rocky as well, which I really liked about this movie. And yeah, I really liked it. It was a well-written movie, and the performances are really good. And the lines in this movie are really, really good. And I loved the scene when Sylvester Stallone, Rocky Balboa, is talking to his son, and he's telling him about life. Like, there is no greater fight than life. And there's nothing that will knock you down higher than life, but you just gotta keep getting back up. He says it's not about how hard you can hit, it's about how hard you can get hit. And oh my gosh, just such an epic Rocky line. And like, I loved his lines in these Rocky movies, but like the line he gives to his son about life and how it hits you down, it's just so freaking good and so freaking epic. And I'm like, oh my god, Stallone, always why I loved Rocky Balboa. I know some people are not a fan of it, but I adore it. It's a very good drama sports movie, and I adore this movie. It's a great movie, one of my favorite Sylvester Stallone movies. Coming in number 3 is Demolition Man. Oh my god, this movie is pretty dumb, but at the same time, it's kind of smart. Like, how it talks about the economy and consumerism and all the messages it has, they're all pretty damn true. This is actually a pretty good movie in its own way. Some things are dumb, like some of the action is pretty stupid, and some of the lines in this movie they say are pretty dumb. But how they design this world and about our future, that's pretty clever, because honestly, this movie came out in the 90s, and honestly, they're pretty spot on, because our future is actually turning out just almost like Demolition Man, so this movie actually is, in its own way, kind of clever, and I adore this movie. All its dumbness, I still love this movie. And the acting in this movie is good. Stallone is awesome, Sandra Bullock is awesome, Wesley Snipes just kills in this movie. He's so over the top, but he's just so freaking awesome. Even Rob Schneider's good in this movie, and I fucking hate Rob Schneider. Benjamin Pratt's also in it, and he's good too, but I loved this movie. The action, I love good action movies, so some people might think, oh, this movie should be a disappointment then, because the action isn't all that good. No, it isn't, but I still like this movie because the acting is really good, the ideas are pretty clever, but it's a science fiction movie, it's a really good movie, and I highly recommend it. It's like my favorite Stallone movie, one of my favorites. I adore this movie. I've seen this movie about 30 times. I can't get enough of it. Love Demolition Man. Coming in number 2 is First Blood. Yeah, when it comes to Rambo, I'm always mixed about Rambo. Rambo First Blood Part 2 is pretty stupid, but I kind of like it. I don't like the third one, and I hated the fourth one that came out just a few years ago. I didn't like that. The action was kind of cool, but I thought it was a stupid story, and the acting was absolute garbage. First Blood, though, is incredible. This movie is fantastic. This is just a straight up cat and mouse game. Sold all these cops hunting John Rambo in the forest, and he's using his survival skills to survive and hunt down these cops too. And it's just so freaking good. And Stallone is awesome in this movie. He's so freaking good in this movie. And you can tell he's went through a lot of pain. He's been tortured and everything. And all of these cops are just being dicks to him. So like, every time he kills these cops or injures them, I just laugh by myself like, ha, take that, you dumb hicks. And Stallone is awesome. Stallone plays the role so freaking good. I adore this movie. The action's great. The direction's fantastic. And I love this movie. This is one of Stallone's best. His performance is probably one of his best performances in any movie. He's fantastic, and this movie is fantastic. And my number 1 should come to no shock to anyone, Rocky. Bum 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 bum. Da 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 da. Getting stronger, getting stronger. Adrian! Should I do that one time? Yes, the beginning of Rocky, the movie that took all the Oscars and showed that Stallone is actually a good writer and a good actor, and some people to this day just don't believe it. Watch Rocky. You will believe it. This movie is fantastic. It's an amazing drama and a very inspirational sports movie. This is one of the greatest sports movies ever, and it's the greatest Stallone movie ever. It's fan-freaking-tastic. Stallone kills it in this movie. He's fan-freaking-tastic. The characters in this movie are iconic. Love Apollo Creed, love Adrian, love Paulie, love them all. Mickey's awesome too, and this movie is just so freaking good. The ending fight scene between him and Apollo Creed is really great. The climax is great. Stallone is great. Everything about this movie is great. It's got the ultimate of all ultimate montages. Do 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 do. Yeah, I love Rocky. So that was my top 10 favorite Sylvester Stallone movies. Oh man, that was a terrible impression. Oh god, that was bad. I apologize for that. But yeah, anyways, that was my top 10 favorite Sylvester Stallone movies. So please comment below and give me your top 10 favorite Sylvester Stallone movies. Comment below, let me know. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to this channel and join the dark side.